My name is Al Letson, and I do a lot of different things. I am the host of State of the Reunion, a program that's heard on over 300 stations across the country, public radio. I write comic books, I act, I write a lot of theater. I have been living in Jacksonville since I was about 12 years old, so it's going on 30 years. Yeah, and that's who I am.
It was written on parchment over 200 years ago. Ideas floating in the ether.
We hold these truths.
All men are created equal.
That they are endowed by their creator.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Handed down from philosophers far and wide, the building blocks for this union. They called it a melting pot, a grand experiment, unlike all the other nations in the world. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free across land bridges, in boats with names like the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, in the bowels of a slave ship, soon to be Americans from Europe, Asia, Africa, and beyond, and created these United States. But sometimes the melting pot gets a little hot and things fall apart. We've been wounded, divided, and lost. The dynamic of our democratic system brought into question, and then there is this.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
This nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed.
Our shared humanity, the foundation upon which we build. These are the ties that bind. Through heartbreak, triumph, sadness, and joy, things fall apart. But we, the people, can bring them back together.
The torch has been passed to a new generation.
So, State of the Reunion was an idea that, was kind of born from living out of a suitcase for the last, 20 years or so. I have basically, the jobs that I've had, I've been living out of a suitcase. I started off as a flight attendant, and then mixed in the fact that I'm a performer doing spoken word, so a lot of times I was performing all around the country. And the thing that I saw was that America was a lot different than what I thought was being reported in the news. And so, I thought about that, I saw it, and I just kind of filed it away. Fast forward several years later, there is this contest, and they're looking for new hosts, new ideas, new people for public radio. And I was a big NPR fan, so I applied for it. I put in a little 2-minute submission, really didn't think much about it, and the rest is history. So what we do at State of the Reunion is we travel to different cities or towns or maybe rural areas and look at how life is actually lived on the ground in America. We get past the politics, and we get past the quote-unquote common knowledge of a place, and we just do a deep dive. And what we're looking at is how people create community. What are the issues around the community, and how people are trying to figure it out, how they're trying to solve it.
Sacramento.
Thank you, sir.
All right, welcome to Sacramento. Where y'all have me sitting?
Right there, you see us.
So I was trying to explain to them loose in the NBA, you have 100% of our market share. So when you think about season tickets, that's one revenue stream. A new arena is important for another revenue stream. The TV market is an important one.
I think it's important to, do the type of journalism that highlights when there are problems, but I think it's equally as important to highlight the people that are trying to fix those problems, even if those fixes are imperfect. We've been doing that for like 6 years now. I've been based in Jacksonville the whole time. I just fly out to different places. I have a really amazing team of people that help me with the show. And in that time, we have won awards. We've won the Edward R. Murrow Award twice for Best Documentary Radio. We've won an award from the National Press Club. We've won awards from the Gay and Lesbians Journalists Organization. So we've done well, and we're on 300 stations, and I would say that the show is loved.
My name is Father Bill Terry. I'm the rector of St. Anna's Episcopal Church
located in New Orleans in the Treme area.
Why did you decide to become a priest?
It's a very, very long story, and it's a series of dramatic events that are sort of laced together. My wife and I, after 2 years here, in fact, it was July of 2005, we're sitting in our living room one night. In the news, night after night, reports a murder here, a murder there. In the past week, we've had 10 murders, to give you an idea. My wife turned to me and said, "Where was that murder?" I said, "Oh, don't worry. It's on the other side of St. Claude. It's not in our neighborhood." "Oh, okay." We went back to our business. The very next night at midnight, pop, 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 pop. Right outside the front door, there was a 17-year-old man shot to death with his girlfriend, who was wailing in a voice that sounded like Irish keening. It was an otherworldly wail. The police prevented me from approaching the boy for fear of, quotes, contaminating the scene. I couldn't give the kid last rites. The Murder Board Project, in a neighborhood that often devalues life, or where life has little meaning, is born out of a faith response that recognizes human beings as human beings and puts profound value on life. Thursday of each week, Deacon Elaine Clements sends to me the list of the murder victims for that week. I pull my little ladder out, I go to the murder board, take my permanent ink markers, and I write their names on the board. When a child is murdered, what we will hear is John Doe and Mary Jane were shot in a drug deal gone bad. And what we hear is drug deal gone bad. We tend to forget their names. We begin to paint a mental image of a gangbanger or somebody really means.
Yeah, I had a lot of, so when I first got started with State of the Reunion, I had a lot of options about where I could live. I decided to stay in Jacksonville, primarily because, I've got family here and it's home for me. I love this little city. And, I think back then when I made that decision, it wasn't so much a conscious decision, but as the years have gone by, it has become a conscious decision. As far as being involved with the community, my kind of goal is that I live in Jacksonville, my kids live in Jacksonville, and I want it to be a better place. And the only way that happens is if I get involved. So I've gotten involved with pretty much every organization that's asked me in Jacksonville, which is several. The Cultural Council is they're kind of the Senate, so to speak, of the arts. And I've done a lot of work with them. But on the flip side, I've done a lot of work with the Sanctuary on 8th Street, a small community center in Springfield, where kids go after school and in the summertime. And that place is really dear to my heart because they do really great work and they try to make these kids' lives better. It's not perfect. If you come to Jacksonville and you want to make it New York, you should leave because it's never going to be New York. If you come to Jacksonville and you want to make it Atlanta, you should probably leave because it's never going to be Atlanta. But if you come to Jacksonville and you want to love it for what it is, if you want to make it better, if you want to roll up your sleeves and stop comparing Jacksonville to another city, but make Jacksonville comparable to another city, then you're in the right place. Because the future is just wide open, and there's so many people here that are willing to fight with you if you sign up for the cause.
From the east side, old school caddies knock Duval funk, rattling the oak trees of Springfield, while the St. Johns River sings to the residents of Riverside, and Seven Bridges whisper their providence to cars riding on their backs. This is the sound of children, of laughter, of love, the hope for tomorrow planted in the seeds of today. This is the sound. This is the tune that soccer moms hum and commuters harmonize on their way to the urban core. The click-clack of high heels and dress shoes in business parks. The 4x4s with good old boys mudding in the woods. The zoom of fancy cars driving down Southside Boulevard. This is the sound. But it's also the sound of struggle, of loss. A wrestling with restlessness with its fits and starts and slow-moving parts. This is the sound of frustration. The drumbeat of anger that dreams make, grinding up against the realities of today with nowhere to go, with nowhere to go, and nowhere to go, and nowhere to go unless we plan. This is the sound of thought, the movement of tomorrow, where that big little city becomes what you make it, where the dots connect because you're connected. This is the sound of participation, of civil engagement. This is the sound, this is the sound, this is the sound of your voice, of your voice, of your voice. From now to 2025, this is the sound of the city as you make it.